Hey everyone, this is Michael again, and welcome to the Monday Night Raw review. Monday Night Raw tonight was from the Andel Arena in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and we are on the road to Survivor Series War Games, which WWE has been doing a good job in building towards Survivor Series War Games, in my opinion. But Monday Night Raw tonight, I thought it was a decent show. Not great by any means, though, but it was decent. And from what I've heard online, they are doing a taped Monday Night Raw, which is going to be aired next week because they end up filming the Monday Night Raw that we're going to see next week before tonight's show went live. Which I don't know why they're doing a tape show for next week, because I saw it's probably misinformation, because they said that, it's a Thanksgiving. They taped it for a Thanksgiving show, which Thanksgiving is not until the 28th. So that's, in my opinion, some misinformation there. But who knows why WWE is doing a taped Monday Night Raw next week. But tonight on Monday Night Raw, we had Damage Control, and they have taken on the Pure Fusion Collective. We had Pete Dunne in action, and he had taken on Kofi Kingston. We had Damian Priest. He had taken on Ludwig Kaiser. And in the main event, the Women's Tag Team Championship was on the line, where Jade, Cargill and Bianca Belair defend the titles against Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez. And we got confirmation that at Survivor Series, the Survivor Series War Games match is going to be 5-on-5, which I thought it would be, 4-on-4, but looks like for both Bloodline teams, they're going to be adding a fifth member. So we'll see how, that goes on who the fifth member will be. But Monday Night Raw, decent show it was. Like I said, not great. But anyway, let's jump right into the review. Monday Night Raw open up tonight with the Ring General, Gunther, the World Heavyweight Champion. He ended up coming out, and this was a face-to-face between him and Damian Priest. And of course, Damian Priest will be facing Gunther at Survivor Series War Games for the World Heavyweight Championship, because he ended up winning a Fatal 4-Way last week, where he ended up pinning Dominic with the South of Heaven. And so that's how Damian Priest won the match and became the number one contender for the World Heavyweight Championship. So it's going to be a rematch at Survivor Series War Games with Damian Priest and Gunther. So Gunther was in the ring. He had a mic in hand. The crowd there in Grand Rapids were booing him. So Gunther ended up saying, all that matters is he is still the World Heavyweight Champion. He wanted to say that he does not live in the past. He ended up saying what is in front of him is the next challenger for his World Heavyweight Championship, Damian Priest. So Gunther ended up saying that there is a lot of things he can say about Priest, but he got interrupted by him. So Damian Priest came out. He headed to the ring. Priest got on the mic. He ended up telling Gunther not to look surprised. He ended up saying that the entire world was told Gunther would be talking about him, and that he wanted Gunther to do it to his face. So Priest ended up cutting Gunther off because Gunther was going to speak. And like I said, Priest cut Gunther off to guess what Gunther will say about him. He ended up saying that Gunther is going to say that he's street trash, a Latino bum, and his parents didn't care about him, etc. So Priest ended up saying that he wants to explain to Gunther what he sees. He ended up saying that he understood why people feared Gunther. He ended up saying for the first time in his career, he felt doubt. Priest ended up going on to say that he didn't think he could beat Gunther. And it sucks to admit it is true. Priest ended up saying that if it weren't for his so-called brother in Dominic Mysterio betraying him, that title wouldn't be around Gunther's waist. Priest ended up saying that once Gunther became the World Heavyweight Champion, his vibe started to fade. He ended up saying that it faded because Gunther started doubting himself. So Gunther was shown shaking his head. He was in denial by what Damian Priest, said to him. Priest then ended up saying to Gunther that the vibe faded more in Saudi Arabia because he got pinned by Cody Rhodes. So Gunther was furious. Priest ended up saying that Gunther cannot talk because he feels doubt. So he ended up saying that Gunther knows that he can beat him. Priest ended up saying that he knows the unbeatable killer is dead because he'd have taken a swing at him by now. So Priest then dared Gunther to take a swing at him. Because Priest was like, oh, we don't have to wait until Survivor Series. Let's do it now. So Priest ended up saying that if Gunther takes a shot, he's going to drop Gunther's ass. So Gunther was shown pacing. He was being frustrated. So that brought out Ludwig Kaiser. Ludwig Kaiser came out and he demanded to know what is happening. He was like, oh, Priest, why are you here? And Gunther, why are you here? So Kaiser ended up asking Priest what he is doing. Kaiser ended up reminding Priest that Gunther has already beaten him. So Kaiser got into the ring and he advised Priest. He ended up saying to Priest, get out of the ring and save himself. He ended up saying that the next time Priest stands in the ring with Gunther, he'll beat him once again. Gunther then ended up putting his hand over Kaiser's mic to stop Kaiser from speaking. So Gunther started saying something to Kaiser, and he poked Kaiser in his chest. Kaiser pulled himself away from Gunther, and he ended up calling Priest street trash. Priest then ended up delivering a right hand to Kaiser. He ended up dropping Kaiser with that right hand, and he clotheslined Kaiser over the top rope. Priest then turned around, and Gunther ended up backing up from Priest. He was a little bit scared of Priest. Gunther then left the ring. Priest started smirking at Gunther. So Gunther ended up going up the ramp with Kaiser, and he looked at Gunther suspiciously. And pretty much that was basically how the segment ended. But overall, I thought this was a good opening to Monday Night Raw here, with Gunther and Damian Priest, advancing their story here, going into Survivor Series War Games. And after Survivor Series War Games, if I'm predicting who Gunther's next opponent will be, I have to say it'll possibly be CM Punk. I see them, doing a feud between Gunther and CM Punk, and, to book a match between Gunther and Punk. I think that's going to be at the Royal Rumble. So I sense WWE, possibly doing that. And it is a money-making match. Gunther, CM Punk, for the World Heavyweight Championship at the Royal Rumble. Take my money. But hopefully that ends up happening. So, like I said, it's a money-making match. And then we saw Kathy Kelly. Kathy Kelly was backstage with Damage Control, Io Sky, and Kairi Sane. Kathy Kelly congratulated Io Sky on becoming the number one contender for the Women's World Championship. For her to face Liv Morgan for it. So Kathy Kelly ended up asking Io how she planned to take Liv Morgan down. Io ended up telling Kathy Kelly that she is ready for it, and that she hopes Bianca and Jade leave something for her. And Kairi Sane ended up saying to Kathy Kelly that they have other business tonight. And we had the return of Dakota Kai. And it was a surprise. This went unannounced of Dakota Kai returning. So she ended up returning from her injury. She was out for 3 months because she ended up getting attacked by the Pure Fusion Collective, the Pure Shit Collective, backstage on Monday Night Raw. So Dakota Kai walked up to Io and Kairi, and she ended up hugging them. Dakota Kai ended up saying that she is pissed at Pure Shit Collective for taking 3 months from her career. She ended up saying that as long as Damage Control picks her up, no one can keep them down. So Dakota Kai ended up saying that they'll remind everyone what Damage Control is made of. So then Damage Control ended up making their way out, and that was basically that. So it was really cool to see Dakota Kai, return. Like I said, it was a surprise. There was, no reports of Dakota Kai returning, so it was a nice surprise. And then, as Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, we had Kofi Kingston. Kofi Kingston was walking backstage, and he bumped into R-Truth. Kofi ended up thanking R-Truth for helping against the Final Testament. Kofi then apologized to Truth for not having his back. So Xavier Woods came up, and he was asking what they're talking about. Pete Dunne then blew by Kofi, and Pete Dunne ended up getting in R-Truth's face for calling him Butch last week. So Kofi ended up asking Pete Dunne, "Oh, is there a problem?" So Xavier Woods ended up saying that this isn't their problem. Kofi ended up saying this is their problem. He ended up saying that if Pete Dunne has a problem with R-Truth, he has a problem with him. So Xavier Woods was not happy about that because Kofi was sticking up for R-Truth. So R-Truth ended up saying to Kofi that Pete Dunne is okay, but he has to worry about Butch. So once again, R-Truth ended up calling Pete Dunne Butch. But they're just playing this up. We're going to get the match eventually between R-Truth and Pete Dunne, which, of course, Pete Dunne is going to win. And then we had the first match of the night, which was the 6-woman tag team match. Damage Control, Dakota Kai, Kairi Sane, and Io Sky. They had taken on the Pure Fusion Collective, the Pure Shit Collective, Sonya Deville, Shayna Baszler, and Zoe Stark. And the match itself was okay, but it was sloppy at points. So the match got underway. We had Io and Zoe Stark end up starting it off. Both women end up locking up. Stark ended up hooking a side headlock on Io. Io ended up twisting out of that headlock and applied a headlock of her own to Zoe Stark. Stark ended up kneeing Io in her midsection and sent Io into the ropes. Io ended up avoiding Stark's offense, and she did a handspring, and then she started taunting Zoe. Zoe then sidestepped a drop kick from Io, and Zoe started stomping away on her. Io ended up backflipping out of a back suplex, to which Stark ended up grabbing Io by her hair and sent her into the ropes for a back body drop. Stark started taunting Io, and then she went over and tagged in Sonya Deville. Stark then hit a backbreaker to Io. Sonya Deville followed that up with a run neckbreaker to Io. She went for the cover, to which Io kicked out. Sonya Deville then ended up hitting a snap suplex to Io. She pulled Io up for some knees to her midsection. Io slid out of a suplex attempt from Sonya, and she ended up sending Sonya into the corner. Kairi Sane ended up tagging in, to which Io and Kairi Sane ended up sending Sonya Deville into the ropes for a drop toe hold axe kick combo, which was pretty cool. So both Io and Kairi ended up hitting stereo basement drop kicks to Sonya Deville. Zoe Stark ran in, but Kairi Sane ended up hitting Stark with a head scissor takeover. Kairi Sane then drop kicked Stark into Sonya Deville, to which Kairi Sane connected with a sliding forearm on Sonya Deville, to which Sonya rolled out of the ring to recover. Kairi Sane was on the apron. She came off the apron and attacked Sonya Deville. So the ref was then checking on Sonya Deville, which led to Shayna Baszler pulling Kairi Sane out of the ring, and Shayna Baszler then clotheslined Kairi on the floor. And then Monday Night Raw went to commercial. Then when Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, Kairi Sane was in control of the match. She was fighting both Sonya Deville and Zoe Stark. Baszler then tagged in, and she ended up stopping Kairi Sane from making a tag. But Kairi Sane ended up escaping from Baszler. Kairi then tagged in Dakota Kai. Dakota Kai came in, and she forearmed at Baszler. Dakota Kai ended up kicking Baszler in her midsection, and she delivered a drop kick. Baszler then blocked an arm drag from Dakota Kai, but Dakota Kai ended up fighting back with a snapmare. And I gotta say, Dakota Kai showed no signs of ring rust here. She was out for 3 months, and she worked pretty good here. Dakota Kai then ended up hitting a scorpion kick to Shayna Baszler, but Shayna Baszler ended up shaking it off. So Baszler ended up charging at Dakota Kai. She ended up getting sent to the apron. Dakota Kai started stomping Baszler into the canvas, and she ended up getting back in the ring. She ended up going for the cover, to which Baszler ended up kicking out. Dakota Kai then ended up hitting a running boot in the corner to Baszler, to which that stunned Baszler. Dakota Kai ended up going for a running boot in the corner, but Baszler moved out of the way, to which Dakota Kai ended up hitting Sonya Deville instead with that boot. Baszler then ended up hitting a back suplex to Dakota Kai, and she applied a single leg crab to Dakota Kai's knee. So Io ended up breaking up the single leg crab, but she got taken out by Sonya Deville. Kairi Sane then came off the top rope and took Sonya Deville out. So at the end of the match, we had Baszler ended up putting Io Sky in the Kirifuda clutch, but Dakota Kai ended up kicking Baszler in the face. Io ended up going up to the top, and she delivered the over the moonsault on Shayna Baszler. So Io went for the cover, and there you go. Damage Control ended up winning the match. Overall, the match was okay. Not great, but it was sloppy at points. But the crowd, they cheered for Dakota Kai. Overall, okay match. And then we had Jey Uso, Mr. Yeet. He was backstage with Sami Zayn. Both Jey Uso and Sami Zayn were pleased with what happened on SmackDown this past Friday, where Sami Zayn ended up delivering a kick to Solo Sikoa because, Solo Sikoa wanted Sami Zayn to join, the new Bloodline for the Survivor Series War Games match. But Sami Zayn kicked Sikoa, and then, we had the Usos and Sami Zayn ended up taking out the Bloodline guys. So Jimmy Uso walked up. Jimmy Uso was shown trying to make, nice with Sami Zayn. So Jimmy ended up saying to the both of them that they need a 5th member for War Games. So there's confirmation there. It's going to be a 5-on-5 Survivor Series War Games match. So Jay ended up saying that they have no friends on Monday or Friday. And Sami Zayn ended up saying, oh, I might know someone. So Jimmy was a little suspicious with that. But Sami Zayn ended up telling Jimmy not to worry, and that he'll text Jay. So Sammy ended up walking off. Jay ended up telling Jimmy to be nice to Sammy. So that was basically that. Who that fifth member will be, who knows? And then we had Kofi Kingston. He ended up taking on Pete Dunne. Of course, Kofi was accompanied by Xavier Woods. And this was a good match here. So the match ended up getting underway. The crowd were chanting Butch to Pete Dunne, which Pete Dunne ended up not liking that. So both Kofi and Dunne end up locking up. Kofi ended up applying a waistlock to Dunne. Dunne quickly ended up going to the ropes, and Kofi ended up backing up. Pete Dunne ended up running Kofi over with an elbow to his head. He then ripped at Kofi's beard, and Xavier Woods was looking all unimpressed and frustrated with Kofi. So Kofi ended up knocking Pete Dunne back, and he had pinned a springboard chop to Kofi's head. So Kofi ended up sending Pete Dunne to the corner. Pete Dunne then climbed the turnbuckles and backflipped over Kofi. Kofi then springboarded off the middle rope with a missile drop kick to Pete Dunne. Dunne then quickly rolled out of the ring to recover, but Kofi took Dunne out with a somersault plancha. So then Monday Night Raw went to commercial. Then when Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, Pete Dunne was in control of the match. He ended up starting the joint manipulation on Kofi. Kofi ended up fighting out of that, but Pete Dunne ended up dropping his knees on Kofi's arm. Pete Dunne then ripped at Kofi's face and stretched his arms. So Kofi started fighting Pete Dunne off, but Pete Dunne ended up punching Kofi down. He pulled Kofi away from the corner, and he started wildly forearming away at Kofi. So Kofi then ended up taking Pete Dunne down with a leap and double stomp. He ended up going for the SOS attempt later on, but Pete Dunne ended up fighting out of that, and he kicked Kofi. So Pete Dunne then sized Kofi up, and he grabbed him. But Kofi then delivered the Trouble in Paradise to Pete Dunne, which knocked him out of the ring. So the ref then checked on Kofi. Xavier Woods used that distraction, and he clotheslined Pete Dunne on the floor, to which Kofi was furious at that. So Kofi then got in Xavier Woods' face. Xavier Woods ended up saying that Kofi shouldn't even be in this match. And that led to Pete Dunne ended up kicking Kofi in the face as he got into the ring. And Pete Dunne ended up pinning the bitter end on Kofi. So Pete Dunne ended up going for the cover. And there you go. Pete Dunne ended up winning the match. And Xavier Woods didn't even look at Kofi getting pinned. So post-match, Xavier Woods ended up telling Kofi, "I told you so." And Kofi was furious with Xavier Woods. So Woods ended up saying that Kofi is worried about others rather than them as a team. So Xavier Woods ended up saying that Kofi isn't focused, and that Kofi doesn't want to hear what Xavier Woods is saying. He actually shoved Xavier Woods there. So that was that. But the breakup of the New Day is coming. But overall, good match it was between Pete Dunne and Kofi Kingston. And I also Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez. They were backstage with Dominic Mysterio, Jade McDonough, Finn Balor, Carlito. So Finn Balor ended up putting a damper on Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez's match against Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair for the Women's Tag Team titles. So he got in Dominic's face for losing to Damian Priest last week in the No Ball Contenders Fatal 4-Way match. Dominic ended up telling Balor that last week wasn't his fault, and that no one helped him, and Bronson Reed also interfered. So Balor ended up saying that he was doing what Liv Morgan told him, focusing on the tag team titles. Balor ended up saying that Dominic said he could take Damian Priest out. So Dominic then pointed out that he beat Priest and has been closer to the World Heavyweight Championship than Balor has been in a long time, to which that upsetted Balor. So Balor ended up saying that he's calm. He ended up saying that family looks out for each other and steps up for them. So Balor ended up saying that next week, Dominic and Carlito can step up for him and Jade and McDonough to take on the War Raiders. So Dominic ended up saying, I've got your back, fam. So Balor then sarcastically ended up saying that they are one big happy family. So that was basically that, but we're getting that match next week on Monday Night Raw. And then, as Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, we had Bronson Reed. Bronson Reed ended up heading to the ring, and he got on the mic. Reed ended up saying that he's out here tonight to say Seth Rollins is a hell of a competitor. He ended up saying that Rollins proved it when he got the victory over him at Crown Jewel. Bronson Reed ended up saying that he is not a competitor. He is a monster. He wanted to say that last week, he not only took Rollins out, he took out Damian Priest and Sheamus. Reed ended up saying that he'll take out anyone who stands in his way of taking Rollins out for good. So Reed was like, so Mr. Visionary, Mr. Revolutionary, Mr. Seth frickin' Rollins, if you want your revenge, I'm in the ring right now. And that led to Seth Rollins coming out. So Seth Rollins came out to the stage with a mic in hand. Rollins was shown pretend to speak, but he threw the mic down and he charged to the ring. And Rollins was wearing this black and white jacket, and he dressed properly tonight, shockingly. He didn't raid Becky's wardrobe closet. So Rollins ended up taking it to Reed with some right hands. He hit the ropes, but he got avalanched down by Bronson Reed. Rollins then rolled out of the ring. Bronson Reed then followed Rollins out of the ring. He then scooped Rollins up, but Rollins ended up sliding off of Reed, and he sent Reed into the ring post. Rollins then cleared off the commentary table, but he turned around, and Bronson Reed laid him out with a super kick. So that led to Rollins lying on the commentary table. Bronson Reed climbed the barricade, but Rollins dove off the commentary table, and he punched away at Bronson Reed. And of course, we had security and a run down to separate both Rollins and Bronson Reed. Rinse and repeat. You know, we've seen this. Bronson Reed started fighting the security off. He got into the ring to brawl with Rollins. More security ran down, and they separated the both of them. Rollins ended up getting out of the ring. He then ran around the ring, and he jumped onto the apron to punch Bronson Reed. Security then pulled Rollins down. Reed then fought off the security, and then Bronson Reed ended up in a suicide dive on security at ringside because Rollins was being held back by security. Rollins got out of the way, and that was how Reed ended up in that suicide dive, taking out the security. So Adam Pearce ended up running down to regain order of everything going on, and Bronson Reed was just infuriated, where his eyes were bulging out. So then Monday Night Raw was commercial, and that was basically that. But overall, same shit, rinse and repeat. You know, we've seen this before. You know, Rollins and Bronson Reed going out there, they're brawling. Security and officials come down there to separate the both of them. It's just rinse and repeat. And then when Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, Adam Pearce and Seth Rollins were going at it backstage. Rollins looked like he had a scratch on his face, and he kept saying that Adam Pearce knows who he is at his core, and he wants one more match to end this. Pearce ended up saying that he'll have the match next week, but it's over after that. So Rollins was happy about that, as Pearce ended up walking away. So next week, we're going to see Seth Rollins and Bronson Reed again. So then Sami Zayn walked up to Rollins. And Sami Zayn ended up asking Rollins that they need a fifth guy for War Games. Sami Zayn ended up saying to Rollins that he knows the history of him and Roman Reigns. He ended up saying that the whole reason he's back with the original Bloodline is because the family bond never goes away. He ended up saying that the family bond with Rollins and Reigns still makes them brothers. Sami Zayn ended up saying that he has looked up and down the rosters on both Raw and SmackDown. He ended up saying that there's no one else, and he thinks that Rollins is their fifth man. So Rollins ended up saying to Sami Zayn, I think you're out of your damn mind. He ended up saying after everything he sacrificed to take that tyrant Roman Reigns out of power, he now wants him to team with them to build Reigns back up. So Rollins ended up saying that he knows who Roman really is. Rollins ended up saying that he is shocked that anyone would stand next to him, especially Sami Zayn. He ended up saying after everything Reigns put him through, he has to be blind, so as not to see that Reigns is using him again. So Rollins ended up thanking Sami, and he appreciates him. He ended up saying, as for him to join the original Bloodline for the 5-on-5 to be the fifth member, Rollins' answer was no. So Rollins walked off, and Sami Zayn looked all disappointed at that. So that was basically that. And then we had Damian Priest versus Ludwig Kaiser. And this was a decent match here. Match got on the way. Priest immediately ended up decking Kaiser with a right hand. Priest ended up getting Kaiser into the corner and started striking him. Priest ended up sending Kaiser into the opposite corner. Priest ended up charging at Kaiser, but he ended up sidestepping, and we had Damian Priest end up driving his shoulder into the ring post. Priest ended up hanging upside down on the middle rope, so Kaiser then drop kicked Priest to the floor. So then Monday Night Raw with the commercial. Then when Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, Priest was shown punching out of a side headlock from Kaiser. Kaiser ended up quickly coming back with a rolling Death Valley driver. He ended up going for the cover, to which Priest kicked out. Kaiser then ended up kicking Priest in his head. Priest then blocked the vertical suplex attempt from Kaiser, so Kaiser was clubbing away at Priest's back. Priest fought back, and he delivered a broken arrow to Kaiser. So he was then forearming Kaiser in the face. Kaiser then ended up blocking a strike from Priest, and he hit the ropes. But Priest ended up hitting the flapjack on Kaiser. So Priest started kicking away at Kaiser's chest, and he started punching Kaiser, twice. Priest ended up sending Kaiser to the corner, and he ended up charging for a running back elbow. Priest then grabbed Kaiser. He set up for the Razor's Edge, but Kaiser fought out of that. At the end of the match, we had Priest end up grabbing Kaiser, and he connected with the South of Heaven. He ended up going for the cover, to which Damian Priest ended up winning the match. Post-match, Gunther walked out to the stage, and he was just staring at Priest. So Gunther looked a little worried. So pretty much that was that. Overall, decent match it was between Damian Priest and Ludwig Kaiser. And then we saw Kathy Kelly. Kathy Kelly was backstage with Braun Breaker, the Intercontinental Champion. So they end up showing last Wednesday on Speed on Twitter or X. I mean, who watches Speed? They showed Braun Breaker and Sheamus going at it. And it went to a draw. And so both Braun Breaker and Sheamus end up brawling after the match. So they played that footage from Speed last Wednesday. So Braun Breaker ended up telling Kathy Kelly that he's looking to expand his trophy case. He ended up saying being the WWE Speed Champion intrigues him. But that ugly idiot bonehead, Sheamus, got in his way. To which Sheamus walked up to Braun Breaker. And Sheamus was like, "Oh, I couldn't help but hear you speaking." So Sheamus ended up saying that Breaker has some arrogance and disrespect. He ended up saying to Breaker that he has been here for 15 years, while Breaker has been here for 15 minutes. He ended up saying that Breaker has momentum and reminds Sheamus of himself when he became one of the fastest WWE champions ever. So Sheamus was like, does Breaker have the guts to put the one title that has eluded him for his entire career next week? So Breaker was like to Sheamus, "Oh, I wasn't listening. But if you want a title match next week, you're on." Breaker ended up saying that he can't wait to kick Sheamus's old ass. So Sheamus then ended up telling the kid in Braun Breaker to shine the Intercontinental Championship up real nice because he's taken the title home. So Sheamus ended up walking off. So that led to Jimmy Uso walking up to Braun Breaker. Jimmy ended up asking if Breaker has a second because he wants to talk to him. To which Breaker ended up agreeing. So Jimmy wanted, Braun Breaker probably to join as the 5th member for Survivor Series War Games. And as Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, we saw The Miz. The Miz was shown cornered by the Final Testament. Miz ended up saying that he's going to be taking a leave of absence. He ended up saying that the Wyatt Six let him go after he apologized. He ended up saying this is about his family and that they've moved on, and so has he. To which Karrion Kross ended up saying to The Miz that Miz has given him nothing. He ended up saying Paul Ellering is his family, and the Wyatt Six attacked him. Kross ended up saying that he's going to break Miz's legs. So the Final Testament then grabbed The Miz. They dragged The Miz through the gorilla position and into the ring. So The Miz was begging the Final Testament off. Kross got on the mic. He ended up saying that The Miz is lying to him. To which The Miz was shown bleeding from his eye. He had blood right down here, and blood was coming down his face. So Kross ended up shoving Miz down, and he demanded to know where the Wyatt Six are. So then the lights began to go out in the arena. We heard that piano key playing, and the Wyatt Six appeared on the apron, and they were shown staring at the Final Testament. So the Wyatt Six got into the ring. Uncle Howdy ended up saying, "We're here." And Karrion Kross was shown shouting at Bo Dallas, at Uncle Howdy. So suddenly, The Miz came into the ring, and he had a steel chair in hand. Miz hit Eric Rowan in his spine with the steel chair. Bo Dallas was then shown shocked, and then he began to laugh. So the Final Testament took it to the Wyatt Six. We had Scarlett and Nikki Cross going at it. Scarlett flipped Nikki Cross off the apron down to the floor. Miz ended up hitting Eric Rowan again with the steel chair. And then Miz ended up hitting the skull crushing finale to Eric Rowan on the chair. Karrion Kross then ended up slamming Bo Dallas down. And we had the Final Testament stood tall over the Wyatt Six. So as the Final Testament ended up walking off, Karrion Kross looked all concerned because he ended up seeing Uncle Howdy laughing. So that was basically that. But I don't care about this story between the Final Testament, Miz, and the Wyatt Six. And you have the Wyatt Six, they go from Chad Gable and, the Creed brothers. You go from that to the Final Testament and the Miz. What a big step down that is for the Wyatt Six. Unbelievable. I'm not going to care what else they do with this story because it's so uninteresting to me. And then we saw Kathy Kelly. Kathy Kelly was backstage and she ran up to Seth Rollins. She ended up asking Rollins how he's planning to take Bronson Reed out next week. To which Rollins was like, "Oh, I'll get back to you." So the camera panned over and Sol Sikoa and Jacob Fatu were in the parking lot. Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa were in the SUV. Sol Sikoa ended up saying that he knows Rollins doesn't like Roman Reigns. And Sikoa ended up saying that he can't stand Reigns. So Sikoa was like to Rollins, why don't they be the ones to join forces and take Reigns out? So pretty much Sol Sikoa was asking Rollins to be the fifth member for the new Bloodline. So Rollins ended up cackling. He ended up saying that he hasn't always gotten along with Sol Sikoa. And Rollins was like, "Oh, I'll tell you a secret." He ended up saying that the next time he's in the ring with Roman Reigns, it will be to stomp his head into the ground. Rollins ended up saying that he will never team with Reigns again, but he'll never join forces with a wannabe Roman Reigns in Sol Sikoa. So Rollins ended up burning Sol Sikoa with that line there. A wannabe Roman Reigns. So Sol Sikoa ended up pulling Jacob Fatu back from attacking Rollins. So pretty much that was basically how the segment ended. Main event. Raquel Rodriguez and Liv Morgan versus Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair. This is for the Women's Tag Team Championship. And you obviously know how this match was going to go in the end. So Bianca Belair and Liv Morgan started off the match. Bianca Belair ended up taking Liv Morgan down and started punching away at Liv Morgan. Bianca Belair then dropkicked Morgan and shouldered Liv Morgan in the corner. Bianca Belair then sent Morgan to the opposite corner and she ended up charging at her, but Liv Morgan ended up sidestepping Bianca, to which Bianca ended up going shoulder first into the ring post. Liv Morgan then started stomping away at Bianca and she ended up charging at her, but Bianca ended up sending Liv Morgan into the top turnbuckle. Bianca then started punching away at Liv Morgan in the corner. Raquel Rodriguez ended up running over Bianca Belair. Morgan ended up pulling Bianca Belair off the ropes by Bianca's braid. Jade Cargill then pulled Raquel Rodriguez off the apron and started punching her. And then Liv Morgan ended up coming at Cargill with a baseball slide. So Raquel Rodriguez ended up powering Jade Cargill into the apron. Liv Morgan was on top of the ring steps. She leapt off the ring steps and delivered a back bump missile drop kick to Bianca on the floor. So Monday Night Raw went to commercial. 9:53 is when it went to commercial. So you had, basically like 3 minutes worth of the match? So then as Monday Night Raw came back from commercial, Bianca Belair and Raquel Rodriguez were down on the canvas. Jade Cargill and Liv Morgan ended up tagging in. Cargill ended up hitting a pair of clotheslines to Liv Morgan. and then she delivered a spine buster. We had Nia Jax and Tiffany Stratton end up running down. Stratton distracted the ref as Nia Jax ended up hitting a Samoan drop to Jade Cargill on the ring apron. Raquel Rodriguez then ended up hitting Jade Cargill with a slingshot elbow drop. She ended up going for the cover, to which Bianca broke up the pin. Stratton then ended up trying to do another distraction, but Naomi ended up running down. Naomi ended up pulling Tiffany Stratton off the apron. Naomi ended up attacking Nia Jax, and Liv Morgan ended up hitting Naomi with a codebreaker on the floor. Liv Morgan then tagged in. She came off the second rope, but Jade Cargill ended up booting Liv Morgan out of midair. Bianca then ended up tagging in, and Bianca then ended up hitting the KOD, the Kiss of Death, onto Liv Morgan. She went for the cover, and there you go. Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair end up winning the match, retaining the Women's Tag Team Championship. Post-match, Nia Jax immediately ended up running both Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair over with a double clothesline. Nia Jax ended up going for the Annihilator, but Io Sky ended up running down. Io Sky ended up kicking Nia Jax back, and she had pinned a springboard missile dropkick to Nia Jax. Tiffany Stratton then ran into the ring, but Io Sky ended up uppercutting Stratton, and she had pinned a double stomp. So Raquel Rodriguez got back up, but Io Sky ended up ducking Raquel Rodriguez. Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill both clotheslined Raquel Rodriguez over the top rope. Nia Jax ended up running in, but Io Sky and Naomi ended up attacking her, which led to Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill hitting a double team suplex to Nia Jax. So we had Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair end up standing tall with Naomi and Io Sky in the ring, and that was how Monday Night Raw went off the air. Overall, the match was just meh, in my opinion. We all knew who was going to win the match in the end. We knew that Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair weren't going to lose the titles. But overall, Monday Night Raw, decent show was tonight. Not great or perfect by any means. But anyway, that's it for the Monday Night Raw review. Thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed this review. Definitely give the video a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, and see you all on Wednesday for AEW Dynamite. So, see you all then.